Out of all the content that have been shared so far on Raid Shadow Legends, all the dungeons, clan boss, Hydra and all that, I personally think, in my humble opinion, that the Fire Knight hard content is the most difficult content. Any endgame player who has attempted to reach Fire Knight hard 10 will tell you that this is the truth, because the stat requirement here is so high that most endgame players who have already beat all other content cannot beat Fire Knight hard. In this video, I want to share with you my team that was able to beat this Fire Knight hard 10 mode finally. If you've been watching my videos and all the champion guides, you'll see that I've been doing some guides on some specific champions where I was building to eventually get here, and finally I've done it. I want to show you in this video. Remember, this is an end game content. This is not a beginner content, but for newer players, this is something you can strive for. If you obtain one of these champions, at least you know what they can be used for and how they can help you in this end content. Now, another reason why you should actually focus on the Fire Knight hard is because of the amount of gear you need from here in the game is high. I'm talking about regen set, savage set, stun set, even crit damage set. These are sets, end game sets that you use not just in the beginning of the game, but all the way in your Hydra, in your clan boss, in your every other big content that you need a lot of damage, including arena. Savage set is awesome right here if you're not getting some good lethal set from the Doom Tower bosses. So that's one inspiration right here, that just getting 5-star gear is no longer enough for Savage set. Just getting 6-star rare gear is not enough. We need that 6-star what do you call that, that other set. What do we get from here again? I forget the type of set. Mythical, I think mythical gear that we need from here. I don't know if that's what it's called, or it's not legendary, it has to be mythical. I'm talking about those red gear. That's where you get them from the higher stages of the dungeons. If I could just scroll through and see some of these ones, this is what I'm talking about. Mythical, the red ones. This is what you hope to, type of gear you hope to get from the Fire Knight. So I know I have a lot of savage set, but you can never have enough. The amount of what do you call it, damage dealers you need to build always have or need their own savage sets. So I don't have good mythical savage set yet, but once you begin to get good mythical gear, savage especially, you can begin to replace some of these your rare 6-star ones. That's the purpose why I actually concentrated on that. Another reason why I try to push to that content is because I've beaten every other content in Raid, even all to Hydra Nightmare. So there's no other bigger challenge. I've kind of ignored the Shogun's Grove up till now. So maybe that's the next content I'll put on my roster, as it's something I need to fight or beat. But for now, I wanted to focus on the Fire Knight because it came first before this Shogun's Grove. And I've been seeing easier teams that people are using to beat this. So this was not a bigger challenge. And the rewards from this one is not that good compared to the rewards you get from Fire Knight. That's the reason why I focused on this. I've beaten all other content at hard 10. I've put out those videos, but the Fire Knight, this is that Fire Knight hard mode video you've all been waiting for. So I didn't create this team by myself. I also give credit to the Elhades, Asipite Extractor, from others who put their teams up there, and I found some teams, similar champions that people were using to beat this content. That's why I put it together. All right, that's the long intro right here, and the disclaimer and all that good stuff for those newer players coming in and say this is hard content. Yes, it is the most difficult content in Raid. If you disagree, let me know which content you find most difficult than Fire Knight hard. I'll be interested to know. All right, let's go into the team right here and see stage 10 hard mode. This is the ultimate team. Now I've used a combination of different champions, and I'll show you other ones you can use in replacement of these ones as I go through all their skills, go through all their role in this team, and find out what they are doing in this Fire Knight hard 10. All right, the first champion you see right here, Razorvag. I already have a champion guide for all these champions. You see it in the playlist for champion guides on my channel. So Razorvag is here for speed boosting. He's best known right here for his A3. I'm talking about increased speed for us and increased accuracy. With this champion on your team, you do not need to have your champions in the highest amount of accuracy. So at least for the dungeon waves and even for the boss, they do need accuracy to decrease the thermometer of the boss by placing their freeze, right? So if he goes first, he needs to go first in your team. He can place this increased accuracy for them to boost up their small amount of accuracy, which will allow them to build more speed or more damage. So with Razorvag in your team, you don't need to build 500 or 400 accuracy on your champions who need to place any debuff on the boss. So that's why he's in the team, these two boss. Now his A1 will boost his own thermometer a little bit Some people even build him with damage, but I've decided to focus on his buffing ability more than his damage dealing ability, where he uses A1 a lot. I kind of turned off this skill because I don't need him to be using it. Maybe for the wave, you can use it a little, but it's not that important for his team. And this champion boosts his own damage by boosting his speed. He needs to place this increased speed like 2 times or 3 times or totally 4 times on the wave before he gets to the boss so that he can ramp up his total speed. Now, I built him really fast. There is a speed number you need to meet on this Fire Knight, and that's 250. So anybody on your team should be at least above 250. There can be 240 and boosted with this increased ally speed in all battles by 20%, but I decided to make sure everybody is above 250 in case sometimes I don't want to use Razorvag, but all your allies can be less and he can boost them by an extra 20%, including the increased speed to even make them go faster. So that's the reason why I have him in this team. So, and now for the next MVP right here, you need 2 ally attack champions, at least for this particular type of team. And the first one is Farrakhan the Fat. You can even use 2 Farrakhan the Fat, and he's best known for this A3 right here that places increased crit rate and increased crit damage buff on all allies except himself. Then, you know, all allies join the attack. He doesn't hit, he doesn't go in there and join the attack. So that's 4 allies going in there to hit the Fire Knight. I think it's 21 shield on the Fire Knight. He helps, takes it down really fast. So with Razorvag even going first before him, Razorvag hits 3 times on the Fire Knight shield and brings it down to 18 before Farrakhan the Fat and the other ally attack champion can go in there and bring down the huge, long-lasting shield of that Fire Knight had 10. So this is why he's in the team. If you have 2 of him, build 2. If you don't have my other option that I'm talking about in this video, but you need 2 ally attack champions. 1 is not enough. You can use 1 for the other stages of the Fire Knight, but on this Fire Knight hard, you need 2, except you want to build 400 speed on 1 ally attack champion to make them go twice and somebody doing a reset like a Kaima and then make them go again. I don't know if that's possible, but I prefer 2 ally attack champions right here. Now, there's something you should notice about this champion. Increased crit rate in this champion means all your other allies on the team don't need 100% crit rate. A lot of time, this increased crit rate will be available on them because he will go first before the damage dealer. So you want to build 70% on your damage dealers when you have a champion like Farrakhan the Fat or any other champion doing increased crit rate for you. So take note, by building 70% crit rate on a champion like this champion right here, Yakal the Scourge, it means he can do even more damage, right? You can build in 70% crit rate and then Farrakhan the Fat will boost him to 100% crit rate, and that will be the way to boost up your speed on those other damage dealers or even put more crit damage on them since you're building less crit rate. Normally, I would not advise this to rely on increased crit rate in any other content because it's not reliable, but on this particular content, you need it so you can hit your speed requirement and your accuracy requirement. Very important that you make use of this increased crit rate buff that this champion is bringing along. So that's one way to go about it. There is no other skills right here we are interested in for this champion besides this one. I don't care what else he's doing. Now, for some other players who do not have decreased defense out there, he might be your only champion in the entire team landing decreased defense on the boss or on the waves. So you want him to mostly use this skill. Sometimes I even turn this off entirely because poison and HP burn is not going to help us because the boss is not going to get a turn. So the poisons will just stay there. The HP burn will just stay there on the boss. So I do not need him doing this on the boss. He can use it on the wave content, but on the boss, I just need him doing only his A1 and his A2. He's built in Relentless sets or even any other set. Relentless, I just put in to be using it a lot. But I have a champion guide specific to show you how to build him if you want to check that out. So now, down to my second ally attack champion. You might not have Lona Tarot. That's why I said 2 Farrakhan the Fat will get the job done. But Lona Tarot is special in the sense that he also brings that ally attack right here, then teams up with all allies. The difference between him and Farrakhan the Fat, why he's a better option, is because he joins the attack. Lona Tarot joins the attack. Farrakhan the Fat go in there and 4 people hit the boss. Lona Tarot takes this skill and 5 people hit the boss. That's why it's better. Some people might even prefer to use Longbeard in place of Farrakhan the Fat. If you also have Longbeard, it can be the champion for you right here. But I preferred Farrakhan the Fat because of that increased crit rate that he brings, so I can allow my other allies to be built with less crit rate. And is there any other skill you need from him? Probably not. His A1 just does hits, A2 does. So it's not really important for this battle. Besides, this is A3. That is the only thing I need to talk about right here on this Lunatary. I do also have a champion guide recently built and showed him on the channel. Hopefully you guys watch that one. With the three champions out of the way that are essential, we have a speed booster and then 2 ally attack champions. The rest you see right here at the back are damage dealers. A1 damage dealers who do freeze. I talked about the A1 because they need to be landing freeze on their A1. The only way to decrease the turn meter of this boss and keep it down consistently is by landing freeze on the boss. Yes, it's weird that way. You can check out the boss guide and read his skills and see how he's built and see how freeze affects his turn meter. That's how Fire Knight hard stages are. For Higher Knight 20, Fire Knight 22 and below, you don't need freeze on the boss. But this is just for the hard stage of the Fire Knight, where champions who have A1 freeze like this are very essential. Now, if they have it on their A2 or their A3, it's good too. But most likely, you mostly want champions who have it on their A1. Not just a 25% chance of landing freeze on their A1. We need a higher chance than that. And that's him right here. A 40% chance of landing freeze. He hits twice, so it's like it's most likely going to happen at least once whenever he uses this skill. So I even prefer sometimes to use his A1 than his A2, but because he has the decreased speed on his A2, allow him use it or start the battle on the Fire Knight with this A2 skill right here. So Fire Knight is going to need decreased speed, because if you don't land decreased speed, you will not be able to catch up with the speed of the boss and decrease his turn meter consistently. So that's where this decreased speed comes in right here. Here is it. Yeah, this is decreased speed for 3 turns. So that's what he's going to place. He's the only champion on the team that places it. If you don't land this, the boss will most likely get a turn and the run might fail. So I really rely on him placing this decreased speed. All right. The next champion, I don't care about. For the wave, I usually allow him use this, because if he doesn't freeze the wave, they might hit us. So also have a shield on the team, but I do not want him. I do not want them getting a turn. So most likely, sometimes I'll let him use this skill. 75% chance of placing a freeze. He's going to freeze an AoE right here. When they are frozen, he hits more, he hits harder, but just to make the run secure, we do not have a reviver for the waves. So don't let them get a turn, and freeze is one of the ways to protect this team, and don't let the enemies get a turn at all. So that's one requirement right here. And now finally for the MVP of the day, which is going to be Gnot. He needs no introduction. He's popular in raid these days, and is best known for his A3 right here that does a crazy amount of damage against the bosses. He's an enemy max HP, hits 3 times, and it's crazy. He needs no introduction, but guess what? This skill will not be used for the Fire Knight hard 10. That's the sad part about this entire team. If this skill will be used, probably be a 1 minute, 2 minutes, or 3 minute run. But when this skill is not being used, it's just dealing damage with this A1 or the A2. It means that this is going to be a longer battle. Remember something about these hard stages. It doesn't matter if it's 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, as long as it's 100% successful. You don't want to let him use this skill if it's going to make the run successful sometimes and fail sometimes. So for the earlier stages, Fire Knight 5, 4, 3, I let him use this A3. His A3 was used. The enemy max HP skill was used. But for Fire Knight hard 10, he's basically like an Allure. You know, Allure works in Fire Knight where she just uses her A1, A1, A1. She has an A3 that does damage, but people use her in the Fire Knight earlier stages 20 and so for only a A1 to keep the turn meter of the boss down. So he is most likely acting like an Allure in this team with his A1. Hits 3 times, each hit has a 80% chance of decreasing the target turn meter by 15%. If the target turn meter is not decreased, each hit has a 80% chance, which is 100% chance of placing a freeze debuff. That's 3 times it will hit and place 3 freeze debuff. That means the boss turn meter will be reduced drastically. So that's an Allure. He's acting like an Allure in this team. It's not what he's meant for in raid, but I still have him built in full damage because I use the same champion, the same build in other content like Hydra and all that. So I know you might not have a Gnot, but take note, he's essential in my team. Now, if you don't have a Gnot, there are other options who have A1 on their A1 freeze that you can use, not just him. I know there are other champions, so you might want to check them out that I was using in earlier stages, but for now he came in right here and is consistent in that A1 freeze. If you have two Gnot, he will most likely replace Yakal, and when he replaces Yakal, one of the Gnot can use only A1 and the second one can use A3. So I can't wait till the day when I get a second Gnot or somebody else that will release later in Raid who can do similar things to the boss, like an A1 consistent freeze so that Yakal can rest. For now, right, Yakal is our only source, a free champion which a lot of people do have from the clan shop or whatever, and then eventually he comes into this team. All right, so that's the team. I hope I explained it well enough. I'll even go ahead and show you the team setup for this team, because it's also very, very important. The most important one is what happens on the boss. For each of these champion, like I said, the A2 is not important for Razzlevag. I'm only letting him start the battle with the A1, and then he will go ahead and start placing that increased speed and increased accuracy for us. That's his priority. For Lona Taro, the only important skill right here, priority, is to use this skill on the boss, the A3, which is the ally attack skill. Now take note about these ally attack skills. Most people turn it off on the first wave, turn it off on the second wave. I let him use it on the first and second wave, but check out what I said. I say use it at the start, but don't use it again. I turned it off. So by the time all the enemies are dead, this skill is available again to be used on the round 2. Once he uses on round 2, I say don't use it again until by the time all the enemies are dead. It's now available again to be used on round 3. That's where I set it. But if your enemies are dying very, very fast, don't let them use it at all. They can use their A2 and their A1 instead. But if their enemies are dying slowly, like my enemies are really, really dying slowly, that's why we have enough time to chill for this skill to be available again for round 2 and then to be available again on round 3. I'll run the battle and you see it live in action. The same thing applies to Fracken the Fat. He's prioritizing his A3 as usual, but he's allowed to use his A3 at least once on the wave 2 so we can kill them faster, and then don't use it until by the time the enemies are dead. It will be available for round 3. That's what I started the battle with, to help me kill that wave faster. And of course, Yakal will focus on his freeze skill. He's allowed to open with it, and then once he freezes the enemies, hopefully he freezes all the enemies, we can then use it again on round 2 again. All right, that's the second one. Round 2, he's starting with the A3 again, and then if it's frozen successfully, we'll take less damage. And then for round 3, he's not going to use that skill at all. He's focusing on placing that decreased speed on the boss, and then the rest is A1, A2, A1, A2. That's how the battle goes. And then for the Gnots, the sad thing about it, check out A2 locked out. Not important. But A3, the blessed bash, is also locked out. Now, if you check out my team around, I think his Fire Knight had 6 or 5. He uses this A3, but over here, he's not allowed to use it. And that's how I set it up. So, sad part, but check out, he's using it on the A2 because he will bash the waves faster. And then using it on the A1 too. On the round 1, he's also using it to bash the waves faster. All right. If you want to see dedicated champion guides about each of these champions, maybe I'll put the playlist below for you guys to check out their champion guides. But it's time for us to run this battle and see how the Fire Knight had will go. It's not a fast battle, like I said, but as long as it's below 3 to 5 minutes and it's successful, it's something I can run all night and have an increased chance of getting those mythical gear, especially good ones from this Fire Knight hard boss, which has been impossible for so long. So it's a good achievement that I achieved, and I think I just wanted to share with you guys in this video. If you guys have any other suggestions to improve this team, let me know in the comments. But for now, let's run the battle and get off the screen and enjoy the run. I'll be right back at the end to see how it goes. All right, wave 1 successful, we froze them, we killed them. Wave 2 successful, we froze them, we killed them slowly but surely. We are getting onto the boss, and you can see all their skills are ready now. All the ally attack skills are ready now. You can see it currently is a 2-minute run for the wave 1 and wave 2, but let's see if you can kill this one in 1 minute. I guess not. This is going to be the longest stage, or because we are not using our big damage dealing ability. That's the first ally attack going in right here, dropping the shield to 8 hits. And now the second ally attack will go in also and dropping the shield down to 0. And now Gnot will now go to work and use his A1 only. Check out, he's about to get his kill. His accuracy has been increased by Razovag. And Razovag is getting extra turn because he's so fast. That's the slow speed that I was talking about right here. Gnot A1. That's it. This makes the run 100% successful. Only using his A1. He's like an allure. He's about to do it again. Gnot A1. Yes, he's in a relentless set. Gnot A1. That's all you need. So this feels like he's a Fire Knight 20 team because he's doing the position of an allure, and that's why the battle is so long. Maybe I need to rebuild somebody else like a Yakao to be doing more damage, because if not, he's going to be doing only his A1s. Maybe Yakao can be built with more crit damage to be doing more damage for me, because this is a very slow run. But it's not about how slow it is, it's about how successful it is. And you can see the turn meter of the boss is not getting any chance to get a turn at all. Now, there are some teams who allow the boss to get a turn and they put ally counter attack and then they retaliate to bring down the shield. No, this is a team that does not let the boss get a turn at all. And it's all because of Gnot. So I don't know if there's any other person who can take his spot, who can replace him. I've built other A1 freeze champions or A2, A3 freeze champions, but he is just the best at this. So he's probably the MVP of this team. Without him, this team will fail because we will not be able to keep the turn meter of this boss down consistently like this. Maybe we even need more freeze champion. Maybe we'll not need to use Razovag or Lona Tyro. If you take out those two champions, you can bring in Freeze in their place. But who else has Freeze and counter attack like Lona Tyro? I don't think anybody does. But that's Yakal also helping. Lona Tyro is built in a reflex set. He's gonna do that counter attack a lot more than Farrakhan the Fat. So that's this team. I just wanted to come in here and tell you a little bit what is happening on the boss battle, but I guess you get the point right now. Gnot A1 is the MVP, and counter attack is one of the ways we are doing damage. You can see the boss gets his HP reduced a little bit more when we have that counter attack going along. That's why Relentless is important in your counter attack champion, or Reflex in your Lona Tyro champion like this, because they'll be using that counter attack a lot. And currently a 4-minute run, and like I said, even if it's a 5-minute run, I'm 100% successful. That means I'll let this run all night and wake up in the morning to 100 battles. Normally, you want to wake up to 300, 400 battles successfully complete. But if I can wake up in the morning to 100 battles and few mythical gear, it's also worth it. Now, for events and tournaments that go on for raid, like fusions and all that, with super raids on, I'll probably go a little bit and fight a lower stage. I'm talking about maybe stage 6, which is Void Affinity, or even stage 5. If I want to be fast, if I want to do 2 to 3 minute runs, right? But sometimes when I want to farm the best gear, I will farm this stage 10, even if it's a 5-minute run right here. So that's the team. With time, this will be improved, but this is the first draft of the team that I was successfully able to use to beat down this boss successfully. So that's why I wanted to hop on here and share with you guys. Have you been able to beat the Fire Knight Hard 10? And what team did you use? Without Gnot, is it possible? I'd like to know your opinions about this team. If it's something that you're still working forward to, remember it took me up to 2 months or more, because I was doing this champion guides for Razovag, doing the champion guide for Gnot, doing the champion guide for Lona Tyro and all these other champions. Eventually, I put the pieces together and I made the puzzle look incredibly easy right now, but it took me months. And of course, my account is an endgame account with the maximum stats and everything that you talk about, the Great Hall, it's all maxed. So that's one of the reasons why maybe this might be possible for me and not for you yet. But it will take you a while to get here, but this is the most difficult content in Raid, and I'm glad I finally did it. So Raid, take out this rare. What is 5-star rare doing? All this sweat and hustle just to get a 5-star frenzy? This is what I'm talking about. But hey, sometimes you get the bad stuff also from these dungeons. It's not always gonna be mythical gear, so take note of that. All right, with this video, I think I'm done. I look forward to your comments below regarding this team. If you have questions and comments, if you want me to build this team for you, if you're not sure if your stats can do it, you can jump over there to Discord and ask questions, and maybe I can jump on your account and do a champion guide for you. Make sure you like and subscribe for more daily raid content. I'll see you guys in the next one and the bigger challenge that is coming up next. Later, guys.